When the federal government started funneling $1 billion in federal coronavirus relief to Kansas, the state established the Office of Recovery to administer and distribute that money. Now one county is in trouble with the state after giving tens of thousands of dollars to an elected clerk and her deputy. They say if there's an investigation into potential fraud, that law enforcement may be involved. During the height of the coronavirus pandemic, the federal government gave out billions of dollars to help with the local response. Kansas received about $1 billion, with $400 million going out to 105 counties across the state, used for everything from masks and testing to helping people recover financially. But in one small county out in western Kansas, we found out that nearly $70,000 of that money was pocketed by an elected clerk and her assistant, an amount of money that almost doubled their paychecks. April Hall was the elected county treasurer for almost 10 years before resigning in March.
I did see the account balances and the fund balances, and the clerk had been paid several large amounts of money, as well as her deputy.
We got records from the state showing more than $67,000 in total, split between the county clerk Ashley Manis and deputy clerk Maria Parrish in 2020 and 2021. Hall says after seeing the payroll transactions for those years, she knew something seemed off.
To add a $30,000 amount onto someone's salary is a lot of money.
So how could this happen? We asked the county attorney, Brett Mangan, county commissioners Larry Enfield and Steve Everett, the new county treasurer, Katrina Davis, and the woman at the center of the unusual spending, Ashley Manis. We also drove 345 miles out to Sherman County to figure it out. We emailed each of these officials and called them directly, leaving messages for each of them at their home and their office. After we started digging in and asking questions, the county's website stopped working. Then finally, we received a call from County Commissioner Larry Enfield. He says the county previously contracted with someone to disperse the money. Then that person left before finishing the job, leaving the clerk and deputy to pick up the slack.
People's like, oh my gosh, how can you pay a county clerk that kind of money? Well, it's no different than if that county clerk went and worked at Walmart somewhere in the evening. What she does after hours, which is what she did all this after hours, is a different story.
He says from his understanding, the problem wasn't how much they were paid, but instead that the clerk and her deputy were paid through payroll instead of contracted work. However, the timing of the payments made to Manis and her deputy clerk equally suspicious. Some of the money was taken about 3 months after it was either supposed to be spent or sent back to the state. Payroll transactions in June 2021 showed 2 deposits of about $11,000. Then one big deposit of more than $34,000 for the pair in July. All of this totaled out to more than $56,000, split between the clerk and her deputy in just 2021 alone, bringing their tally for both years to more than $67,000.
So the county could have used it for projects or updates or upkeep that met the COVID qualifications. Regulations say that any money that's left over was to be returned to the state, and then it would be allocated back out to counties that were short money.
The state's Office of Recovery is tasked with reviewing expenses for all 105 counties. When we asked about it, the office would not comment on the questionable payments specifically. A spokesman did tell us they were holding the county responsible, demanding the money back, and if any fraud is found, law enforcement would be contacted. Here's how it unfolded Tuesday at a Sherman County board meeting.
The State Office of Recovery has determined that some administrative expenses did not meet federal guidance under the CARES Act because those expenses were made through county payroll and because they were made after the date allowed by the resolution. They have determined that those funds will need to be returned and the county will need to rectify that issue.
Each county could decide what process to use to spend the coronavirus relief money. Many counties left it up to their county commissioners. We asked Sherman County leaders what checks and balances the county has in place. Did Manis and Parrish just take the money for themselves, or did someone else authorize it? Enfield said the clerk was in charge of how the money was dispersed, and the commission was fine with the amount of money paid to the clerk and her deputy for the hours they worked. We asked the former treasurer about it, but she says there seemed to be a lot of fishy business going on behind closed doors.
And I knew there was people in the county that were on that committee that had put a lot of time in also, and they weren't reimbursed. To pay an employee $30-some thousand to administer that, I thought was very excessive.
Now, the county will now have to return that money, but something else no one will answer is, will the money be taken from the county officials who received it, or will it fall on local taxpayers? We'll continue to monitor the issue and track any new developments. For now, reporting at the Capitol, I'm Rebecca Chung.